Everyone, welcome to next API testing video tutorial. This is part 4 in the series of API testing tutorials, and in this section we are going to have a look at some more get operations using rest assured and some more assertions. So let's see what this session details with. In this session we would see, well, I have made some modifications. I'm going to walk you through the GitLab project I'm using. We would see how we can verify array elements using has item. We would see how we can specify HTTP verb, measuring response time, logging response elements, extracting entire response, and specifying header and cookies. So let's get started. So first, let me show you the project changes I have done. So last time we had just one class here, but what I have done is I have created something called core API test, which is a base class of the class which we had seen in the last session, as well as the one which we are going to see in this session. And what core API test has, well, I have moved the basic or the most common use cases in the core API test. For example, I had hard-coded the API definition everywhere, and this is specified as a constant here. Plus, I have specified a setup here for base URI, which is we were using requests.in as an application to carry out REST assured related operations, and specification of port. And now each test class is going to extend this, so would invoke the setup method. We had seen the class REST API test. It had a different name, but we had seen this class in the last session. So in this session, we would focus on REST API test 2, which again extends the core API test class. I have also specified the API response in this class. So in case the application goes down in the future, we can see what verifications were being carried out when we invoked this API. So let's get started. So yes, let's see how we can verify the array elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the first test method here, which is check array elements. So what we do in this method is we invoke API page 2, which is API/users page 2. So let me invoke this here. Yep, it's right over here. And then on the body, we verify that data.email has some emails. So data.email is going to have lots of emails. As we can see on this page, this is first email of Michael Lawson, then Lindsay Ferguson, then we have Tobias Funke, and so on. And this can be validated using a matcher call has item. So we have seen body statement in past as well. Body takes a string path, and the string path here is data.email to gather the emails, but we are not specifying all of the emails, so we don't have equal to every possible email. We are verifying only 2 emails, and this is done using has item matcher. What it does, it takes variable argument. As you can see on the API definition, is string 3 items, which is variable argument, which means that it can take either none or any number of arguments. So I should be able to do this. Yes, and it takes an empty list as well, or it can take any number of arguments, which is why it is variable arguments. So I have specified 2 email addresses here. So now when control comes here, it is going to verify whether data.email, which is so data is this, and then we have email all over this page. So it will verify whether it contains these 2 emails or not. So let me run this, and it should be green. Yep, as you see, the result is green. Let's modify this to something else and see what outcome we get. It should obviously fail, and let's see what result is displayed on the terminal. So it fails, and it says that it was expecting to contain a collection matching Michael and another one is Lindsay one, but it found something else. So it printed all of the actual values for us to do the comparison. All right, let's correct this and let's move on to the next method. Next method is about specifying HTTP verb. As you may know, get, post, put, delete are also known as HTTP verb, and with rest assured we can specify them. So instead of doing get here, there's an API called request, which takes the method name and the path parameters are again variable argument and I have not specified anything here. For example, this is the path parameter, but none is specified here. What I have specified here is the method, which is get, and then the path, which is the same as API page 2. And then we do an assertion on the status code, which we say that should be 200 or HTTP. Okay, so if I run this should also be green. This is just another way of doing the get. So instead of doing this, I could have also done all of this like this: get API page 2. This is the same logic, just that in this case we specify get method, and in another case we specify request and then get. Okay, now let's see another use case of verifying response time, because at times you may want to check not only the functionality of the API but also how long it takes. You may have some SLAs, service level agreements, that your API would provide response say in 2000 milliseconds, and if that's the case, then you also want to verify this. So how you can do that? Again, get, then for example we say body get data dot email dot file is Rachel Howell, which is right here, fifth one, Rachel Howell. This is the email address. So we do an assertion on fifth email, and then we also verify that the time it took is less than 2000 L, which stands for long, and then we specified the time unit. So it means that it took less than 2000 milliseconds to fetch us the fifth email address. Let's run this and see. Okay, this was green, but let's assume that our SLA's response should be retrieved in 100 milliseconds. And let's see if this succeeds now or not. Okay, it fails now, so API was not fast enough, and the exception which we have is that expected response time was not a value less than 100 milliseconds, but it was close to 1000 milliseconds or 1 second. So this is how we can verify the response time. Now let me bring it back to how it was. Otherwise you would have exception when you try this locally. Then we would see how we can fetch headers and cookies. This is quite simple. How we can fetch them is to using headers method. The rest of the syntax remains same. So we have get, then what I have added here is another method called log to log the values, and then headers to get the validatable response. I'm not really doing any validation here. I'm just, for example, printing the headers, and then I'm getting the cookies, and I'm also logging the cookies. And eventually what I have done here is I'm extracting the cookie values. Now when I say extract cookies, what it would give me a map. It would give me a map here of type string, which is key and value of the key and value of the cookie, and then I can do some assertions on this cookie map. What I'm doing here is I'm just printing the values. How I'm doing that? We know from map we get key value pair, and keys are unique, so we can get a set. So I'm using key set to get the set, and then for each method is being used here to print the value of the cookie. By the way, if you're new to Java, then please don't start here. Please start on Java tutorial, which are also available on my blog, seleniumtest.com. So let me run this. When I execute this, we would see that header values are printed, cookie values are printed, and then in the end we have, the cookie map being taken into consideration, and all of the cookie values are printed once again. Okay, so we see here all values are printed, and in the end we should see cookie is sort of a statement which is right here. So we have one cookie here which is CF DUID with some value. This kind of syntax can be then taken to do either this, not the syntax, this kind of mechanism can be then taken forward to do some more assertion or pass on this cookie to a different request and so on. We will see on some later examples how we can pass cookie to a different request. So let's assume that you got cookie here, and then you store this cookie somewhere, and then in the future request you pass this cookie for a different API validation. Next, let's see how we can log the response if some condition is true. So very simple example here. We again get something called user.eugenp, which is a dummy value I have given. So this is going to give us 404. And if that's the case, then what we are doing is we are logging its response. Let me run it. So since this was not a valid API call, what we get is 404, and this is why we have all of the logs being logged here. This could be useful in case of debugging, in case something goes wrong with the application, then we can have such errors being posted, and then when analyzing the test reports we can find out that what went wrong. All right, now let's see how we can extract the entire response and carry out some operations on the response object itself. I have again picked up BDD syntax here, which is given when then format. It has gone for the toss here. Well, I had written it something different, but something else has gone. Okay, so it's something like this I had done, so it makes it easier to understand. Yeah, but in general, I do not follow this practice because this given, when, then, they are all syntactic sugars. I don't use them. Anyway, so let's see what's happening here. So we have specified here path parameter, which is user count 1. We have seen path parameter in the previous section. Path parameter is nothing but path which is being used in the API call. So for example, the path parameter user count is specified here. So this means that we are getting the API response for user 1, that is the first user, and then we verify that okay, content type is JSON, and then verify that body has first name as George. So let's see this API call first. Yes, single user, and I said first years, oops, not 12, first. So we do verification on data dot first name should be George, and if you see here data dot first name is George, so it will be successful. And then we are extracting the response which we store in a response object. Now what we can do is using this response object we can extract some more elements. For example, down in the method I'm extracting the path which is data.last name, and I'm doing an assertion on this that it should be BLUTH. So you can see here the last name is BLUTH, and another assertion on the email address which should be George Bluth at the domain, which is right here, George Bluth at domain for data.email. Or you may have to specify some more response elements to a different API call, so you can capture the response from first API call, extract the values, and then pass on these values to the new API call. In the similar way, you can also get the headers from the response object which we have. How do we get header? I have used something called response.headers to get the headers, and then we can use as list to get list of headers, and then I'm just printing them. Let me execute this. We would only see one outcome here, which is printing the header results. Rest everything is a silent assertion because we are using the right values here and it succeeds. So this is the header value which is being printed here. All right, let's see our next method, which is specifying headers. So you may come across the use cases, that is when you would have to specify the header value for an API request yourself, and this can be done by using a method called header. Well, how this is used is after given we have something called header API, which takes 3 parameters. One is the header name. My header name is here my underscore header, and header value, which is some dummy header because I'm not really carrying out a test here. It's just for sake of this tutorial. And then it takes additional header values, which is variable argument of type object. I have not specified any additional header value here. So this is how we specify header, and then we continue with the usual syntax of specifying the get request then, and we are doing assertion on body element called page. It should be equal to 2. So API page 2. So this was right. This one. Yep. And yep, body element page should be 2. So if I execute this, it would succeed. Okay, now let's see the next one. The next method is about specification of cookie. So similar to the headers, we can specify cookie, and you may have guessed that instead of header method, we use cookies method here to specify cookie. The first value is going to be the cookie name. The name I have used here is the my cookie because it's some dummy cookie, not a real cookie I am using. And another parameter is the cookie value, which is again some dummy text, which is dummy cookie, which I have used. And then it may have cookie name value pair as variable argument. I have not used any variable argument here. Rest of the syntax remains same. So cookies followed by the get request, then an assertion on the body element page. So if I execute this, we should see another green run. All right, so let's see if we missed something to learn on this session. No, this was all for this session. Next session we would see authentication, and in the future sessions we would see some more different HTTP verb like post or put or delete, um, to find out how rest assured can be used for validating such request as well. So this was all for this session, and I hope you enjoyed watching this session, and if so, then please hit the like button. Thank you. Bye bye.